Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For this video, we're just going to be continuing off of what we were doing last time. If you haven't seen my previous video, be sure to go check it out. All we basically did was we set up the Active Directory infrastructure, so that way we can utilize Active Directory efficiently. And all we really did was we set up two virtual machines. So we have a DC1 and the client 1. Right, so we had DC1, it's going to be acting as the domain controller, and then client 1 is just going to be a regular user that's going to be joining the domain. That's essentially what I did from the previous video. It's in my playlist, you can go check it out. And if you're new to IT or information technology, on my YouTube channel I just basically post any type of like labs that you can do for yourself, so that way you can practice fundamental information technology skills. Oh, what's this? I don't want this here. So yeah, basically, if you're on Microsoft Azure, just be sure to launch your virtual machine so we can get started. This is going to be a pretty long video. I'm going to try to keep it under 20 minutes. Hopefully, but I don't know. No promises. But here are the steps. I'm going to have this attached in the description. It's just a Google Doc, and it's just an easy like walkthrough of what we're going to be doing. So right, we're going to install and configure Active Directory. Right, then we're going to create a domain admin user, which is going to be the main domain admin user, so we don't have to keep logging in with like the same username as before. That way we can just utilize this username right here. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to add it to the domain admin security group. This is very important to keep mind of. Then we're going to join the client to the domain. This is not essential. This is not necessary. We already did this. I believe there are a couple steps in here that I have to remove, but I will get back to that. And then we're going to configure RDP, and then we're going to create our users. And that's pretty much it for the lab. It's very straightforward and super simple. So let's get started. Let's do a remote connection to our server. Hop in here. Let's pick up RDP. Hopefully I remember the credentials for this. Let me see. So let's get signed in. Looks like it's working. All right. So our first task while this runs, I'm just going to state it here, is that we're going to install and configure Active Directory. So basically what we're going to do is install the Active Directory domain services on the DC1 virtual machine. And to do that, we're going to go to Add Roles and Features. Hit Next. Role-based feature. Hit Next. Hit Next. Okay, this is the part that you want to pay attention to. So here we just have a bunch of lists of things. All we basically want is this guy right here, Active Directory domain services. So just come on over here, hit Add Features, hit Next. You can leave this option and just continue on. Hit Next. Hit Next again. And then hit Install. Alright, just let that feature install for a little bit. So this is basically Active Directory domain services. This is just going to be an important component that's going to be important for utilizing Active Directory. So after this, we're going to promote the server as a domain controller. Right, so the next step in the process will be to create a new forest, which we're going to name it as mydomain.com. Let this go on for a little bit, and you can feel free to skip this part if you need to. It's going to take some time for this feature to install. What is this? Love PC gaming? I do love PC gaming. Sometimes. Okay, so our installation succeeded. So we can just hit this. We can close out of here. So next up is that we need to promote this server as a domain controller. And to do that, just come up on over here. Click this part. And then right here, promote this server to a domain controller. And it's going to bring up all these configuration settings. And what we want is this bad boy right here. Add a new forest. And we're going to name this root domain name mydomain.com. Okay. Let's hit next on that part. And I believe we need to give it a password. You can just use the same password that you used to log in to this virtual machine. That would be totally fine. Hit next. I'm gonna uncheck this for now because I don't think we need to create a DNS delegation. I could be wrong though, but for now let's just hit next on that part. Just hit next. Hit next. Hit next again. All right, it's going to run a prerequisite check. And we can just say install. Finally, okay, so the installation was successful, and now what's going to happen is that you're going to immediately get this message here, and that our virtual machine is going to restart. So let it do that, and our session has expired. But the cool part is what was the IP address again? Same one? Yeah. I'm just gonna make sure it's this one because I got a bunch of virtual machines set up. Let me just do this. Okay, so the cool part about this is that, so let me say more choices, use a different account, right? Now we can log in like this, mydomain.com / lab user, same password credentials as before, nothing changes. Let's do remote connection. Uh-oh, what happened? Let me see. mydomain.com / let me try one more time. mydomain.com. Did I misspell lab user? I probably did. There we go. That was a problem. Anyways, I hate this message right here. I'm just going to get rid of that. Let's see if it works. Are we in? We're in. Okay, cool. Let this just log in for a sec. And all of these processes are going to take some time. Unfortunately, there's no quick way of doing it. Feel free to fast forward if you'd like. All right, we're in now. I just hit my mic. Okay, cool. So we're on now. We're back on Active Directory. Did it close all my windows? I think it did, right? Let me just go back to our checklist just to make sure we know what's going on for the most part. So just to recap real quick, all we did was we installed and configured Active Directory, right? And to do that, it was a really simple process. All we really had to do was just install Active Directory domain services on DC1, right? This is like the main first step. This is how it gets Active Directory going. And then we had to promote it as a domain controller, which is an essential step, a crucial step, very important. And then we created a forest name, which was this right here, mydomain.com, which we used to sign in or do a remote desktop connection back into our server using this alias here, mydomain.com, which is essentially our domain controller name. That's what's going on. Now, we're going to get into the nitty gritty of Active Directory, right? We're going to start seeing what's really going on in Active Directory, how to use it. We're going to do very simple basic tasks for now. We're not going to go too in depth on this portion. So all we're going to do is just create some organizational units, right? Something you'd see in a common business organization, right? So employees, admins, right? And then inside admins, we're going to create this individual here, which is just going to be some random name, Jane Doe, right? We're going to give it some credentials, Cyber Lab, right? Then we're going to add it to the domain admin security group. Then we're going to log out, and that's it for step number 2. This should be pretty straightforward. Nothing too crazy for now. So let's just hop right back into here and to open ADUC, Active Directory, right here. So this is what yeah, so basically just come here on the search tab and you can just write active and you'll find it right here, Active Directory users and computers. Let's get on there for a second, maximize this. And this is really essentially where you're going to be operating as, right? This is where all the key features are going to be located at ultimately. And this is mydomain.com. So this is the forest that we created earlier, right? And under it, if you go into users, we're able to find our user right here, which was lab user, right? And here you can open this guy up and, you know, implement whatever it is you need put, right? Just some general details, some account settings, address, profile, etc. You name it. So let's get right into it. So the first step is that we're going to create an organizational unit. So to do that, all you can do is just come on this mydomain.com, right click, hit new, organizational unit. And this part is important. I'm going to do it in all caps. So we're going to have an organizational unit called employees. Okay. Hit OK for that one. Bada bing, bada boom. So there's that one. Then we need another organizational unit. And we're going to call this one. Is caps lock still on? It is. Admins. Make sure you spell it right. Very important. Let's get that going. All right, cool. So we got the two organizational units set up. Let me just hit refresh real quick. Okay. What's next? Oh, that's right. So we're going to create a user called Jane Doe. So we're going to create a user inside this admins folder here. So let's hit new user. And it brings up all the details that we can add for this person. We can just say Jane Doe, right? And we're going to put the username as Jane_admin. Hit next. Password. Just give it the same password as we've been using, just to not make things too crazy with the passwords. That way we don't have to like keep track of it. I'm just giving it the same password that I've been using. User must change password at next login. I'm just going to uncheck that for now. This is terrible practice. Don't do this, right? Don't force the habit of doing this. I'm just doing it for lab purposes. So let's hit next and finish. There you go. So now we have a user here called Jane Doe. All right, so we just did that. One second, I'm just pulling up my notes real quick to see what we need to do next. I think we need to add this guy to a security group, right? Let me see. Da, 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 da. I totally forgot. Hold on. It's right here. Sorry, guys. So to do that, yeah, we just come here. Remote control. I think we do it under here. Yeah. Oh my gosh, what am I thinking? Yeah. So to do this portion, all you're gonna do is come here, hit right click, and we're gonna add it to the security group, essentially. Let me, so member of, then come over here to add, and then I think here we say domain admins. Let me just check names real quick. Okay. Oh, Domian. I spelled it wrong. This should work, I think. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Domain admins. All right. Let's hit OK on that part. And then hit apply. And then hit OK. Okay, fantastic. Great. Sorry that took a while. I was like having like a brain fart. I don't know why. But basically all we did was we added Jane admin to the domain admins security group. All right. So we did that. We can close this for now. And we can just exit out of our remote session, and we're just going to log back in. And we're going to use this cool technique, which I like. Let's hit log off. It's going to sign out. Let's get back into our remote desktop. Just come over here, grab your public IP address. You're going to need that to do a remote desktop connection. And I think, yeah, mydomain.com/. So this time we're going to log back in using this. Domain. I keep writing domain. mydomain.com / our username, which was Jane admin, the domain account user for the DC1 virtual machine. And let's get the password credentials in there. Let's see if this works. Fingers crossed. Are we in? And we're in. Okay, sweet. So just wanted to double check that that was functioning properly, which it is. Okay, we just come back to here and we can log out of our remote session. So back to log off. Do that. That's going to close our remote session. Cool. All right. Next up. All right. So what did we just do? We just did step number 2, which is very, very straightforward. All we did was create some organizational units, right? Created this person, this individual, and we added them to the domain admin security group. Next up. Now we're going to join client 1 to the domain, which we already did from the previous lab. I already did that. So, but if you didn't, these are the 2 steps that you need to do first, right? So you need to confirm client 1's DNS is set to the DC1's private IP address. And then, so we're not going to do this one for this video. So I'm just going to delete these 2. These are not important. So we're going to log into client 1 as the lab user, right? So let's go into here. grab this public IP address. Let's run RDP. Put that public IP in there. And I want to hit use different account. Let me see if this works. Lab user. See if this works. Cool. Okay, so we're now in the client 1 virtual machine. All right, sweet. So our next step in this process is that we're going to join the machine to mydomain.com, which is our domain controller. This part is very, very important. And let's get right to it. So to do that, I think it's right here. Open up system. No, not system information. Why did I do that? I think it's in settings. Yeah, settings. Let's open up settings. Open up system. There's another system. Just go into remote desktop. I think it might be under here. Connecting your PC remotely. I don't think it's under here. Would it be under? No. Let me go back to home. Hold on. Let me just do something real quick. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so it's under about. And to access the feature that we need, I think we need to go into here to rename this PC, right? Yeah, here you go. So to rename this computer or change its domain or work group, click change. So I think if we hit this, there we go. This is what we wanted to see. We want to see this part right here. So we want to join it to the domain, right? So member of, and if I can recall properly, we're going to join it to my domain. Did I spell it right? Domain again. mydomain.com. Hit OK. Ooh, what was this part again? I totally forgot. I don't remember. So I don't think we can do that part. Hold on. Back to rename his PC. Member of. I think it's already in there. Enter the name and password of an account with permission to join the domain. I think it might be this. Let me try this. Right? Hopefully this works. I'm not too sure. Let's see. And I think it worked. That's fantastic. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Welcome to mydomain.com. Cool. All right, so just to do a little quick recap. You must restart your computer plan. Okay. Okay, hit okay again. Okay, so let this system restart real quick. Did I disconnect? No, I didn't. All right, cool. All right. Let me see for a second. Let's get back into our RDP session because I just wanted to recap that one step, so it's not confusing or anything. Let's do remote desktop connection. I think we can just use this right here. Right? Let's check this box. Don't ask me again for connection to this computer. Let's run our remote session. Okay, we're back in. And basically what we did was, right, you can open the about settings, right? Open the about section on your system settings. This is where you're gonna have access to some of these important features. So we went to here, rename this PC, right? And then from here, you can, to rename this computer or change this domain, click change, come over here, and we confirm that it did that, right? And then from there, all you gotta do is hit OK, hit your credentials in, and it'll get you right in. All right, cool. I think that completes that, right? So let us just get off of here. We can just open this right here, hit run, get to log off. Cool. All right. So now you uncheck all this. So now just grab your public IP address. We're going to do another RDP session. We're going to go back onto DC1. And your Jane admin account should be there. Put your credentials in. All right, let's get out of there. Remember, you can just come over here and we want to open Active Directory users and computers. Just a quick little technique. Let me just hit up users. Ah,